Hey everyone, welcome to Russound. This is Ben at Russound Tech Support. Today we're looking at the D series digital power amplifiers. The D850 is what we're looking at in front of us here, but there's also the bigger brother, the D1650. The D850 is an 8-channel power amplifier, segmented into 4 independent zones. The bigger brother, the D1650, is a 16-channel digital power amplifier, segmented into 8 zones. These products can be used in a variety of configurations, and although they're not a control unit like an MCA series system is, the multi-zone capability and the available connections allow us to use this product in a variety of methods. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back. Alright, so we're looking at the rear side of this D850 now, and as you can see, we do have 4 available zones: Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4. We also have a section over here for bus and trigger. We'll cover that shortly. Let's go ahead and just take a closer look at one of our zones. We'll use Zone 4 as an example since it's right next to the bus connections. On each zone, we feature an analog RCA line input. So this is where you would connect a source of audio to a particular zone. You'll notice there's a toggle switch to the left of this. In the down position, it's in bus in, whereas in the up position, it's in line in. If we take a source of music and we want to go directly to this zone, we'll connect it to the line input here for Zone 4. We'll accordingly also need to select this toggle switch for the up position for line in. The other way you can use this product is with a bus input. In the case of using a bus input, we would connect our source of music to the bus in with stereo RC wires, and we'll select any zones that we wish to use the audio incoming into the bus input to the bus in position on the toggle switch. This allows us to either have a zone of audio on this product, grabbing and pulling audio from the bus input or a very specific line input. So you could have multiple sources of music, one per zone, or you could have a common source going to the bus input and multiple zones selected to listen to that common source. It's one or the other though, so keep in mind this will not automatically switch between multiple sources. In addition to the input available via bus or line in, we also feature trigger inputs and outputs. So if you elect to use a 12-volt trigger from your source component, you can connect that 12-volt trigger to the bus input or the line input. This amplifier is signal sensing. This means that when an audio source is detected on the incoming RCA connection, the amplifier will trigger on and go into an active state. After a certain period of time when that music source is no longer coming into the product, the amplifier will go into a power saver mode. The trigger will bypass signal sensing, making it so as long as your source of audio is on and a trigger is pushing 12-volt current into our amplifier, the amplifier will also be on. A trigger is recommended in home theater uses or situations where you need to ensure the amplifier is either on or off on demand as needed. In the case of signal sensing, time delay is also available to be selected here with 3 dip switches. Only one of these is to be selected in the down position at any given time. In the default state, this is set for 5 seconds. You can also adjust this to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. This specifically will tell the D1650 or D850 how long we want to wait after no longer hearing audio via signal sensing before the amplifier goes into power saver mode. If you do want to ensure that the amplifier, which is set for signal sensing, does not turn off immediately, I would recommend setting this to 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Gain control is also available via these rotating knobs for both left audio output and right audio output. So you can adjust the output on each zone and each channel specifically based on your needs. Each zone is 4 ohm stable. If you're running the product in stereo mode for a single pair of 8 ohm speakers, you'll end up receiving 50 watts per channel. So that's 50 watts to the left speaker and 50 watts to the right speaker. In the instance that you run a 4 ohm load on this product, each zone will output 80 watts per channel. That's 80 watts to the left speakers and 80 watts to the right speakers. The amplifier does also support a bridge mono configuration, which will be achieved by pushing this knob to the right position to bridge. You would only run one single 8-ohm speaker per zone in this configuration, and your speaker would be connected, as outlined, to the left positive and the right negative. This single 8-ohm speaker would then be on the receiving end of 160 watts of power. That's a lot of oomph. And you could then take a second speaker and connect it to another zone. This would allow you to run a stereo setup utilizing 2 zones on the D850 or D1650, so that each speaker is receiving a beefy 160 watts. That's going to sound pretty nice. So now that we've seen how everything is layered on the back, let's go ahead and get a pair of speakers connected. Speaker terminal connectors are included in the packaging, as are rack ears if you want to mount the D1650 or D850. So we'll go ahead and pop these guys in here. One for each zone. They'll just clip right in there nice and tight. And prior to inserting those, you will of course want to connect your speaker wire to them. Speaker wire will need to be inserted into each opening and then tightly screwed down. Make sure that's nice and tight so this does not go anywhere when you plug it in. Should be able to plug that in and give it a quick tug. Make sure nothing's coming out of the back. And now we have a pair of speakers connected in stereo configuration to zone number 1. So all we need now is a source of music to play. Just so happens that I have an MBXP rated rock and roll, so we're going to get this fired up. We of course need power plugged into our amplifier now that we have all the connections made and the configuration settings. We're going to press the power button on the front of the amplifier. And I will show you the front of this again in a moment so you can see how the LED lights look. Now that this amp is on, the only thing remaining is a source of music. We're going to go ahead and connect our RCA wires into number 1. There we go. Now, if I want to use the bus input, as we talked about earlier, I can also do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn the amp off real quick. I'm going to set the toggle switch to bus in. And if I power the amp back on, you're going to notice that we don't hear anything. It's because there's no longer audio getting funneled into the line input that this zone is looking for. It's expecting an audio device going into the bus input. So if I switch this over accordingly now to my bus connection here for red and white, audio is now restored. We just are using the bus input instead of the line input. With this in mind, you could use the product in a variety of configurations. Maybe one source per zone. Perhaps you want to pair that each with a volume control. You could also take a single MBX pre, like in my example here, and run it right to the bus input, and use that as the sole audio source for a number of speakers available that you could connect in the back of this product or the D1650. Now if we look at the front of this amplifier now that audio is playing, you can see that each zone is currently lit blue. This tells us that that zone is powered on and is currently active. And we're relying on signal sensing in my case here, just with RCA wires. If I turn my source of music off, my delay time was only set for 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds, the audio signal will have stopped and my amplifier has responded accordingly by going into power saver mode. When I turn my source of music back on, the amplifier receives that signal and powers right back up. Thanks for joining us, guys. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and like it. Comment below if you have any suggestions on videos you'd like to see down the road. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.